Hello weirdos, welcome back to my channel. My name is EmmaAbe, and today we're going to be doing another haul video. We've been doing a lot of these lately, but you know what? I've acquired a lot of books. It's a coping mechanism, but you know what? It's fine. I try and do my best to not spend all of my money on books. Go to like used bookstores, and so that way it's kind of taking books out of like circulation in terms of books that are going to wind up in landfills, but also supports local businesses. Got a baby with us today. She's been kind of missing out in the last couple episodes because she and I have both been real busy. So this book haul is books that I got in Salt Lake City. And I was in Salt Lake City in May, so this is a little bit outdated. It's actually right after I got this lovely scar here. If you want to know more about how I got this scar, I'll let you know. I got all these books. We went to like 2 different bookshops, which were all like used bookshops. But the reason we were in Salt Lake City is because my brother had a whole thing that we wanted to go and support him. We were all masked and everything. Even though all of us are vaccinated at this point, we're just still super cautious about going on planes. It was very much like when we got on the plane, it was sit down, you do not take your mask off, we are going to keep it on the whole time. Any snacks or drinks we get, we're going to save and consume later, and no getting up and going to the bathroom. That's just what my family did because we're kind of still a little bit paranoid about doing things in general. We went to these bookstores also in Salt Lake City. I got to have hot pot for the first time in over a year. If you guys don't know, hot pot is my favorite food. I don't get it often because I'm very picky about it. My favorite style of hot pot is Chongqing style hot pot. If you don't know what that is, here's a picture of Chongqing style hot pot. Yeah, I was just so excited. It's the first time having hot pot since the pandemic happened, and oh my god, I love it so much. And it wasn't spicy enough, but that's okay. It wasn't Chongqing style. I was just so excited to have any form of hot pot. All right, let's talk the books that I got. This first book I got at a used bookstore. So this is Stiff by Mary Roach. This is The Curious Lives of Human Cadavers. I really like books about death and human bodies. I find the human body to be very interesting, and this kind of talks all about this. This is if any of you guys know who Ask a Mortician is, Caitlin Doty, this is kind of very much similar into her style of things. I love her channel. Very excited about Stiff. This one does have an audiobook as well. The next book I got is The Bluest Eye. This is by Toni Morrison. I don't know what it's about. However, I love Toni Morrison. I'm gonna buy whatever she puts out regardless, even though she's not putting out anything anymore. But I just love her writing so much. I want to get kind of all of her books that are in her canon, and I think this is like the 3rd or 4th book of hers that I own, and I found it and I was just like yes. So looking at the back cover, so I can actually tell you a little bit more about this book. This is a book about a woman and her wanting to have blue eyes and blonde hair, a black woman, and kind of how that desire and that obsession to get that desire destroys her life. This sounds really cool. It's Toni Morrison. Of course it's going to be cool. Next book, which is a recently published book, that is Hood Feminism, Notes from the Women That Movement Forgot by Mickey Kendall. This is a recently released. This was released, I think, in 2020. Like the runner-up for like the nonfiction Goodreads Choice Award pick. I've been highly curious to read this. This has been a book that is on my list to read in terms of things that I need to read, and this is actually curiously a book that I can't find at the library, meaning they don't have a physical copy. They do have an audiobook, but I wanted to have a physical copy of this so I could follow along and read along. This sounds like something straight up my alley in terms of like feminism and discussion about intersectionality within feminism. So this is going to sound really good, and I think it's going to talk a lot about what it's like to be a woman of color, perhaps like LGBTQ issues, and disability too. So those intersections of things that don't get talked about a ton in the whole feminism movement at large. Moving on, this is Coming of Age in Samoa. This is by Margaret Mead. If you don't know who Margaret Mead is, she's an extremely famous anthropologist in the anthropology world. This is like her first major work where she talks about what it is like to transition from childhood to adulthood in Samoa. So I believe this research she did in grad school. You know, she lived amongst the people in Samoa. Yeah, she did all of the ethnographic research like herself with like a few other people, I believe. It's talked a lot about more in this book, Gods of the Upper Air. So if you're at all curious about that, this I'm not super 100% sure if it has an audiobook or not of it. The next book I got is a fiction book. That is The Three Body Problem by Cixin Liu. This is one of like the most famous pieces of like modern science fiction that has come from a Chinese author in the past, I want to say 24 years. When was this published? In 2006. And I believe it is part of a series. I am very excited. I've only heard good things about this. I heard that Netflix is going to be doing like an adaptation. People are a little nervous about the adaptation. And I think most people, or at least most Chinese people who are super into like the drama world and in terms of like TV shows and like productions, would steer you to more Chinese made ones. But I don't think the Netflix one has come out yet, so I don't know. But I'm really excited. I think this deals with like politics and ethics kind of on a grand universal scale, but through that like Chinese lens, and I'm so excited to get this one read. This one does have an audiobook. We have 1493. This is Uncovering the New World Columbus Created. This is by Charles C. Mann, and I actually started reading this about like, oh my god, I want to say like 8 years ago, thinking that it was 1491, which is kind of like the prequel to this book, but I put it down because it wasn't. But this book is a piece of history, and it talks kind of about the changes that happened to Native American culture after basically first contact. And yeah, I saw it and I was like, well, I have 1491. I want to have 1493 because they're kind of like, they're a set, they're companions. Just very, very excited. This is exactly the kind of like sociology history book that I love and I'm very excited to get my hands on. This one does have an audiobook. The next book is On Gold Mountain by Lisa C. Lisa C is one of my favorite authors, point blank period. I love the way that she crafts worlds and create worlds, talks about culture. But this is her family's story, so it's almost like a memoir of what it was like for her family to immigrate to America. And I saw it and I was like, this looks really good. I love Lisa C. So I kind of want to see what is behind the veil a little bit. Yeah, and that is this one, On Gold Mountain by Lisa C. The next book is a book that I picked up from like the hotel that we were staying at. They had kind of like a pick one, leave one book area exchange. And I just so happened to have like a couple of books that I was willing to exchange, and they had some good book choices, and I was like, yeah. So this is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. This is by Stieg Larsson, and this I believe is like a murder mystery, like interesting murder mystery saga thing where you follow this woman and almost like her quest for revenge, if I am understanding what I've read online about this. This does have an audiobook. It is translated because I think that Stieg Larsson's from, I'm not going to get the correct country right, but somewhere in northwestern Europe. Yeah, and it's one of those kind of like hallmarks of another one of their like biggest literature things, and it's been turned into several movies, and I have books 2 and 3 of the series, and I was like, you know what, let's pick this one up, because I honestly was thinking about DNFing them, or not DNFing, just unhauling them, because I was like, I'm not so sure I'm going to be super into this series, but I was like, I saw this and I was like, you know what, I have these books to exchange. Let's exchange this, let's pick this up, let's get this on my reading list so I can determine or not whether I want to keep those other books or pass them on to somebody who would like them a little bit more than I currently do. Moving on, this is a book that I was really excited about and wanted to get my hands on like a while ago when I kind of first heard about it, which was kind of like about 2 years ago when I first started BookTube, and that is American Born Chinese. This is by Jin Lun Yang, and it's just about this little boy named Jin Lang and he is coming to America, or he came to America. I don't fully understand, but he's trying to adjust. Oh no, it would make sense if he's an ABC if he was born in America. Oh my gosh. What it is like to be an ABC in America. ABC stands for American Born Chinese. What is like connecting to American culture, connecting back to his home culture? What is that like? I find this so fascinating for very personal reasons, and it is a graphic novel, so there's a little hint at the artwork, and I just thought that this is something that I would really love, and so I picked it up because they had it. Next is a series, and they had, again, at like the hotel we were staying at, they had both of them had books to exchange, so I was like, okay, I'll pick up these two. And that is the whatever duology this is a part of by Leigh Bardugo. So the first book is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, and the second book is Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. And I have both of these on audiobooks through Audible. So, and I've also read Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo, and I really, really enjoyed that. So I figured, let's kind of like pick up her YA, like crowning achievement, and let's read the duology that she's also read. And they had it again for free. I thought about purchasing this, and I was like, you know what? They have it here for free. It's kind of a perfect opportunity. I have these books to exchange. Let's try them out. Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. I don't really know much about these. I know there's disability rep in this, and that's about it. This next book, I think is like somewhere in like the middle of a series, but I got it anyway. And that is the Dispossessed by Ursula K. Le Guin. And I have heard amazing things about Ursula K. Le Guin's writing. So she's been someone that I've been meaning to pick up. I've been having a real hard time like finding her stuff. And when I saw this, I was like, you know what? I'm going to snag some of the books. I wanted to get another book of hers, but my mom kind of cut me off because we had to transport all these books back home. And I got a bunch of books, as you guys can probably tell. So I'm glad she cut me off because I barely fit all of these into my suitcase. But yeah, this book is about, give me a second, let me read it. It's about this man, a physicist, who basically has to kind of like unite these two different worlds. And that sounds super cool. The reason why I'm always so excited to pick up Ursula K. Le Guin books whenever I see them at places is because she really knows how to world build. And a lot of that is because of her connection with anthropology. I believe one of her parents is a very famous anthropologist, so she picked up a lot of that conversations and those ideas about how cultures happen, and she's able to make these really awesome worlds. So the last book I got may seem a little bit anticlimactic, but I was super excited when I saw it. And that is In Search of Modern China. This is by Jonathan D. Spence. This is a book that I saw appear on multiple different lists for like nonfiction books about China. I do not believe this has an audiobook, but I would have to double check that. But I believe it's a little bit of history. It's a little bit of diagnosing modern culture, modern Chinese culture, and the history and the roots of all that. And it sounds just like something that I would really, really like. And that's why I picked it up. It's a chunker too. I mean, look at that. It's huge. It's a thick boy. There you go. Those are all the books that I got. I think the baby is just hot. She did not want to participate. Or do you miss your friendo? Bet you miss your friendo. So the baby will say bye. Can you say bye-bye? Can you look at the camera and say bye-bye? Are you not having it? Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, share, subscribe, all of that fun stuff. And I will see you guys next week. Bye!